since these are, at least this series I'm doing it on the fly. I haven't done one of these in months and months, and I've just been sitting back and taking care of other things and working on a financial blog, which has been a lot of fun and a lot of work, and speaking to a very different crowd and a different kind of intellectual process entirely, et cetera, looking at finance issues and asset pricing issues and concepts of the federal debt, stuff like that, which are all interesting ingredients in a larger analysis of how is this economy working, how do we get out from underneath this debt, and so on. But as far as Lakoff would be concerned, and scope and category would be concerned, and chunking up and chunking down, I think what I introduced at some point back there was the idea that there is a very useful three-plane chunk model. So if you're talking at any point, and this is a very powerful conversational tool or a very powerful communication tool, that you should be able to toggle up to a higher level of abstraction, and you should be able to toggle down to a lower level of abstraction. So if you're sort of making the core piece of your presentation or the core piece of your discussion, if you want to be an interesting presenter or someone that's compelling, captivating presenter, or a good conversationalist or a good salesperson, or someone who's very effective, you should be able to quickly jump up a logical level if necessary, or when that would be useful or when that would energize the discussion. And you should also be able to jump down to a finer grained logical level. And what I notice often in presentations that lose my interest, presentations that just don't work, and this could be anything from an NLP seminar to a sales presentation to something where someone's making a political discussion, and the ones that really seem to kind of go flat-footed, they just don't really get you engaged, are ones that stay at one logical level and just never budge off that. So they stay at, I'll say, a middle level of abstraction, or a fine level of abstraction, or a high level of abstraction. And you're just sitting there going, detail, 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 detail. Are there any conclusions that you've drawn from these details? And you're waiting for someone to give you some conclusions and some sort of big chunk overview of why they're talking about this, what is the reason for discussing this, what will we be learning from this, what are the inferences and the implications that you've gotten from this. And it's just plot on detail, detail, detail. And on the other hand, you get politicians, gurus, theorists, professors, and they're up there in the land of abstraction, and they're talking about theory, 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 and the this and the that, and the meaning and the ontology and the phenomenology and the epistemology, and you're saying, man, I need some detail. Give me some fine substantiating detail. Give me some actionable fine piece information. Get down to the nitty-gritty with me on this thing. And that's another kind of failure, when someone just totally stays in abstraction and they never talk about the fine, purposive, moment-to-moment utilization of that knowledge, or how they justify talking about that, or what specific examples support their thinking, specific examples give justification for going off on these mental adventures. So there you have a problem that we encounter, and people simply are not educated, or they haven't been taught to develop this kind of thinking, or they haven't been drilled, and they haven't really worked through it. I think this is the kind of stuff that in NLP teaching, instead of going off into all these highfalutin ideas about modeling and stuff like that, just a sec.